Okay, so Chennai Super Kings makes it two in a row, defending Fortress Chepauk. But the big news of the day, I think, is Kolkata Knight Riders still searching for that first victory, really elusive. But I thought, they did themselves in today. I mean, I thought that 192 was a par score. They stood a fair chance, but they have dug themselves into a hole, and it'll take a lot to undo and figure out what needs to be done. Joining me on the show, Shorjani and Bharat Ramraj. Let me go across to you, Bharat, first. Bharat, I thought that 192 was a par score and Kolkata Knight Riders stood a good chance, but what do you think is not working with them?
Perhaps it didn't work for them at the auction table itself. I think somewhere they got it wrong. There itself, if you look at the kind of buys they have made, yes, they made a couple of big buys. But what happens when you make those big buys is you can't really make those smart kind of buys. And the kind of smart buys they have made, someone like Manish Pandey, someone like Rahul Tripathi, all these guys, I think they're past their best. With great respect to them, I think they're past their best. And someone like Rahane is perhaps not good enough for this format somewhere in 2026. So they don't have much going for them. See, Cameron Green, yes, he's still a decent to good player if you use him in the right way. But when you spend 25 crores for him, then you definitely don't have much going for you at the auction table. So I think problem somewhere started there itself. And even after that, if you look at their batting lineup, someone like Rinku Singh, I think is really struggling against spin bowling. And this track was definitely offering something for the spinners. It was gripping a little bit. It was turning a little bit. Something that it made you remember to some extent, not a large extent, but to some extent, some of the tracks that you used to see in the past where CSK used to steamroll opponents. So I think that is where the problem is because if you look at their batting lineup, there is not much depth going for them. Someone like Sunil Narin is mostly hit or miss kind of player at the top of the order. If you get your hard lines right, he's not going to really succeed against you. So even at the top of the order, they don't have much going for them. Unfortunately for them, Finn Ellen, after looking good in a couple of games briefly, has also not really fired. So their batting lineup is struggling, not just their pace attack. So considering all that, I think they just don't have the team to win matches.
Shorjani agreed that they just don't have the batting to win matches. But do you think that in terms of bowling, they kind of executed to a plan? I thought Karthik Tyagi bowled very well today, taking that 2 for 35. Sunil Narayan bowled well. Vaibhav Arora, of course, he's taken a lot of the workload even in the earlier matches. Restricting Chennai Super Kings to 192, they executed to a plan. You could see that there was this strategy of pace off, wide ball that the bowlers had perfected. There was something going for them, is what I thought. Of course, Cameron Green stood out in terms of that 2 overs where he gave away 30 runs. But in spite of that, would you say KKR kind of stuck to a plan when it came to bowling?
See, when the tournament initially started, and in the first two matches, we all thought that the bowling was a concern. And in the first match, also, it was a concern. I mean, and then Blessing Muzrabani, he was not included in the squad against Lucknow Super Giants. And that was something that was really surprising for all of us. But I think without someone like Blessing Muzrabani, who's actively into the international circuit, I think that the bowlers today, they did a good job. I mean, I think the positives right now is the fact that Varun Chakravarti, who was out of form throughout the tournament, even in the World Cup, I think he was better today. I think he gradually is getting his rhythm back, but also we have to consider the fact that this track did help the spinners a little. So, I mean, Varun Chakravarti, I think getting back to form will be a very important aspect, not only for KKR but for India as well. And I think the one bowler that has been impressive recently is Anukul Roy. I mean, no one predicted that he would be the key spinner, and I think along with Nareen, he's complementing Nareen very well, because we saw it against Lucknow also. Anukul Roy was the only one from the other end who was complimenting Nareen. So when he is going out there stopping those runs, it is very important for the bowler from the other end to do that as well. And I think that was done today. That was nicely done. And the pacer unit also, I think Weber, Baroda, Kartik Tyagi, they were good enough. They did their job. They did go out there and take wickets. I mean, definitely they were a little expensive, but like Bharat sir mentioned, the only concern for KKR is Cameron Green. He did not score with the bat today. With the ball also, he has the highest economy rate today. I mean, 2 overs, 30 runs. He's not. He's what is he doing? I mean, what is his role in the team? I think the clarity has to be there, because the way he just came in and got dismissed today, it was disappointing. And I think the pressure is definitely paying off. But he has to go out there and perform, because when you're playing in the team, when you already have someone like a Robin Powell, when you have someone like Ramandeep, who actually has been given the role of a finisher, we saw that Cameron Green was initially looking very scratchy against Lucknow. Also, we were there, we were present at the ground, and the way he was playing was not at all impressive. He was struggling, and his bowling is also nothing special. He's coming back after an injury. He's bowling after so many months. So I think that extraordinary factor, when a team buys you, when a team basically pays so much for you, you have to show up somewhere or the other. You have to go out there and perform, and I think that is missing from Cameron Green.
Bharat, your reaction to Cameron Green, very expensive buy. How does it? How do you think KKR will be thinking about this? Because he's not really giving you a return on investment with regard to batting, and bowling is a big question mark.
Yeah, they just wanted an all-rounder to replace Henry Russell. It so happened that they went for Cameron Green because there weren't many all-rounders going around at that auction table. And again, that is where they went wrong, because it's not worth 25 crores or whatever. He's a decent all-rounder, but just because you want an all-rounder, you can't pick someone, and that also at that kind of price. So I think that is where they went wrong. See, Cameron Green is kind of limited player in the sense that he can bat in the top order somewhere at number three. If he bats at number three, I think it helps him, because he will come up against pace in the power play overs. That is when I think he can score a few boundaries. But he was always going to struggle against spin, especially someone like Noor Ahmad. As I noted, this was not a something like motorway. This was not definitely not a motorway, because there was something in it for the spinners. A little bit of grip, a little bit of turn. In those conditions, we don't expect Cameron Green to come in at number six and score runs. So if they really want to use Cameron Green well, I think he has to bat at number three, and somewhere after 8 or 9 overs, he can come in and use his height, use his high release point to get some kind of bounce. Again, it kind of to give him a little bit of excuse. These conditions weren't exactly meant for tall fast bowlers, because it was kind of a slow track. But still, he has to bowl after 8 or 9 overs, not with the new ball. I don't think that will be his forte, because in the power play overs, even if he gets bounced, the opponents will use that kind of bounce to hit it over maybe short third man or on those lines. So I think they're not using him well. But having said that, he's not that good a player either. So it's, I think, a mix of both.
Hmm. Pretty harsh words there. Shorjani, as far as the
I just
KKR
had a point,
camp goes,
just a small point. Just a small point. Average is about 30 in Test cricket after playing 30 odd Test matches. If you want a value for money kind of player, you might even pick someone like Jamie Orton, scoring some runs, taking some wickets. A better pick than going for someone who had 25 crores.
yeah, I'll come back to you, Bharat, on Jamie Overton and the CSK bowlers in a minute. But Shorjani, question for you is, Ajinkya Rahane, very intense, looking under stress. Abhishek Nair looking very intense, also under stress. Ankrish Raghuvanshi, youngster who kind of started out this edition of the league pretty well, also seemed a little nervous. There seems to be an air of nervousness around the KKR camp. Under the circumstances, what do you think they need to do? Do they need to keep discussing a lot more cricket and strategy, or do you think they just need to take a break and come back refreshed?
I mean, the season is gone, so it does not really matter if they take a break or come back, and if they change their strategy. But having said that, I personally believe that they definitely have to finish better. When I talk about the concerns, I was talking about Cameron Green also, but I think Rinku Singh is also an area of concern for the KKR team. I mean, today, playing 12 balls, scoring 6 runs, and Rinku has not contributed with a bat in this season. We've seen even in the World Cup also he was struggling, and then the financial family crisis came in, and then he had to leave. And then when he came back, he did not get a place in the squad. But later on, being declared as a vice captain, there is a lot of responsibility on you. But I definitely think Rinku Singh has to stand up for his team. And on the other hand, the batting lineup, we saw Ajinkya Rane was opening, but today we saw Sunil Narine come in, and I think that decision was good enough because we know Sunil Narine has contributed as an opener for the team in the earlier seasons as well. And the thing with Sunil Narine is he will not go out there and waste balls. Sunil Narine, Phil Anil, both of them have this approach that they will go out there, they will charge from the very first ball. If it, if they connect it, if they strike it well enough, if they don't, they're just going to walk back to the pavilion. So that is their mindset. And today also, I feel Ajinkya Rane, he was out there, he had that intent, he was trying to hit the runs, he was trying to hit the balls, but he just couldn't do it. Some way or the other, being a part of the international circuit also matters. You have to actively go out there and play, and be in the rhythm in order to score runs in such high matches. Especially when you're the captain, you have to stand up. I think Ankrish Raghuvanshi is doing a good job for KKR so far in the season. But today also, Ramandeep Singh had an opportunity. We were talking about Ramandeep Singh earlier also, and I think Ramandeep Singh, somewhat or the other, did a good job today. Rovman Powell also was there out there, trying his best, but that was just not enough. Some way or the other, I think the batting, earlier it appeared as the bowling was the concern, but now the batting also looks like an area of concern. So when your team is not performing as a unit, it is genuinely concerning. So I think what KKR needs to focus on right now is the fact that they have to perform as a unit. So when the bowlers are doing good, the batters also have to go out there and perform well. It just can't be that one day the batters are performing and the other days the bowlers are doing well. It has to act as a team.
Yeah. Okay, a comment here. Divine13 is saying KKR doing KKR things. Bunch of clueless and headless chickens roaming around the park. Pros, KKR cheerleaders did an outstanding job. Cons had to watch 20 overs of nonsensical batting. I guess we'll leave it at that. I think we've discussed KKR endlessly. Bharat, let me come to you and ask you about Chennai Super Kings. Chennai Super Kings showed a lot of intent in their last match, which they won, and now they seem to be converting that intent into some kind of momentum. I mean, I want to speak about the Chennai Super Kings bowlers. I thought, Jamie Overton came in a bit later today, but Anshul Kamboj, Khalil Ahmed, Akil Hussain, Noor Ahmed, do you think that this set of bowlers, there is a certain quality that they are bringing to the table, or would you say it's because they've created a pitch which is a slower pitch and a little bit more gripping? There was dew in the outfield today. What do you think is working for them?
I guess it's a mixture of both. See, Anshul Kamboj is a very fine bowler, but there's a caveat. He needs to bowl at around 135 kilometers per hour, 137 kilometers per hour. That is when he's at his best. In that Old Trafford test, he bowled at 125 kilometers per hour. At that pace, it's not going to really work for him. He's very much a line bowler, settles into a kind of line just outside of in the corridor of uncertainty. He's not someone who hits the bat very hard, but hard enough. That's what Eric Simmons once told me as well in an interview. Obviously, he's with the CSK setup. And he's quite a clever bowler in the sense that he goes round the wicket in the end overs and he can land the Yorkers as well from round the wicket. I think he can be a very useful bowler, not just for CSK, but for the Indian team. But again, provided that he's able to maintain that kind of pace for long periods, 135 to 138 kilometers per hour. Yes, the conditions definitely helped the spinners. It also helped seamers like Kamboj because it was gripping a little bit, so they could bowl the cutters. And I think in those conditions, Noor was always going to succeed because he's someone who actually turns the ball. Obviously, he has the variations. He's able to go round the wicket, shifts his angle quite well, and is able to, even from round the wicket, is able to bowl with control and get that kind of, what can I say, reps on the ball. So with him in that attack, someone like KKR were always going to struggle because a couple of their batters, I think, are struggling against spin. One of them, obviously, is Rinku Singh. The other one, I think, Cameron Green as well. It definitely doesn't pick the spinners. So the other one, I think there's one more batsman that I thought was kind of struggling. Suddenly, I kind of forgot. But anyway, these two batters definitely struggling in spin. And then you have to also think about Akia Hussain. So you see, he's West Indian cricketer. Doesn't do much with the ball, but he keeps it very simple. In this day and age, it really works, especially in this kind of conditions. Well, stump to stump line, tries to jam down a batter's bat swing from round the wicket with that little bit of maybe slightly round arm action. So I think it worked perfectly for them because they had the kind of bowlers for those conditions that the kind of conditions where the ball was gripping a little bit. And you have to give credit to the likes of Kamboj and Noor Ahmad for just utilizing it very well.
Absolutely. Shorjani, talking about the CSK batting today, Sanju Samson 48, Ayush Matre, we must talk about him, right? 38 of 17 balls. What an innings that was. What did you think of the display that Ayush Matre put out today?
Definitely. I mean, when Ayush Matre, when he came into bat, I think the score was 25 for 1. And on the other hand, Rituraj Gaikwad, he could not get a proper start today as an opener. He just scored 7 odd runs, and it was Sanju Samson who was mainly scoring runs out there, rotating the strike and all of that. But when Ayush Matre came in, I think that his innings was very important because if we compare the strike rates, if we compare Sanju Samson's innings with Ayush Matre's innings, I would say that Sanju Samson, he was playing a little slow. He was definitely trying to hit the ball, but at the end, I think he scored what 48 runs from 32 balls, and I think he was more of an anchor. Whereas on the other hand, Ayush Matre in that partnership, he was out there, he was explosive, he showed clear intent, and when he came on to bat, it was very clear that he was out there to score runs for his team. And I think we've seen it in the under 19 World Cup as well. We've seen it in the previous matches also. Ayush Matre has a lot of intent. When he goes out there, when he walks onto the crease, he knows what he has to do. Today he knew he had to go out there and hit the balls, and he did that. He exactly did what the team expected out of him. And I think to have that kind of clarity at such a young age, and to know what your team expects out of you, that is very important. And I think that is what the all the batters of CSK did. I think Devil Brewers was also exceptional when it comes to their batting, and as a unit they performed. The thing about CSK's batting lineup is that they all performed as a unit. I mean, they picked each other up. When Rituraj Gaikwad, the captain, he did not have a good day, but I think the other batters out there, they were definitely, scoring runs, be it Shivam Dubey and Jamie Overton in the last year. I think Jamie Overton could have, shown a little bit of more intent and scored a little bit of more runs. But I think 192, which initially looked like an average score, with some, it kind of looked chaseable, but at the end, it clearly was more than enough.
Fair enough. Okay, there's a question that I wanted to ask you, Bharat. Amit 579 is asking, should KKR consider Tim Seifert and Rachin instead of Finn Allen and Cameron Green?
Yeah, they can do that. See, Team Seifert and Finn Allen, I don't think there's a great deal of difference in the way they play. Obviously, one is a tall batsman, other one is quite short, but the way they play, looking to play with cross-batted shots, looking to play, even when they play straight on the ground, it feels as if they're playing with the cross-bat. I don't think there's a great deal of difference in the way they play. Maybe Finn Allen has had what can you say, not low, poor on of scores, but he's made those couple of starts, but he's not been able to kick on. So in that sense, they can look at Team Seifert because he could be slightly low on confidence, someone like Allen. That's I think the only real difference between these two because they're both similar kind of players, just that one is quite a bit taller. And Rachin Ravindra, I think the main thing with Rachin Ravindra is in T20 cricket is his left arm spin. Actually, his left arm spin was very useful in the T20 World Cup. More than his batting, it was his left arm spin, I think, that really gave New Zealand a kind of, what can you say, a bonus kind of a bowler who could come in and chip in with a couple of wickets. If today, especially with the track gripping a little bit, someone like Rachin Ravindra could have come in and taken a couple of wickets. You never know. Instead of Cameron Green, he could have come in and taken a couple of wickets. Yes, he's a useful batsman, although I still feel that he's a much better player in the longer formats of the game, especially in ODI cricket. I don't think he's still at that level when it comes to his batting in T20 cricket. But definitely as a spinner, especially in these conditions where the ball was 100% gripping a little bit, I think he could have made more of a difference than someone like Cameron Green. But again, you have paid so much for someone like Cameron Green. I don't think they want to drop him and make a fool of themselves because suddenly that's what it looks like that you have paid something like 25 crores and you want to drop that kind of a player.
But Bharat sir, having said that, I just wanted to ask you that why is Blessing Muzrabani not a part of the playing 11? I mean, what are they thinking? Because see, the bowling unit, they are doing well enough, but Cameron Green clearly is not leading the lineup like we expect him to.
Yeah, but Cameron Green versus Blessing Muzarbani, one is supposed to be an all-rounder, so
All
I'm
around,
not
yeah,
very
I know
sure.
the batting game, but when it comes to the bowling unit, that is what I mean. I mean,
Bowling
the
units,
bowling unit, why is Muzrabani not there out there?
yeah, it can. It might make it slight difference, but I'm not very sure is that much better than the couple of options that they have. Yes, obviously, if that picked Navdeep Saini, I would have said that because I don't think Navdeep Saini should have been even in this particular squad. But I don't think there's a huge difference between Blessing Muzarban and a couple of other seamers like Aurora or someone like Karthik Tyagi, who actually bowled reasonably well today. In my honest opinion, not sure he would have made a telling difference, but yes, they could have definitely tried him with his height. If we had tried a few slower ones with that kind of tennis ball bounce, he might have taken a wicket or two.
Okay. Shorjani Gautam Das is asking, shouldn't Rinku and Rahane both be dropped?
You cannot drop your captain and your vice captain. I mean, vice captain still it's fine. Okay, you still give a reason and you drop him. But I am not in favor of dropping your captain and your vice captain because it gives off a wrong impression. It gives off an impression that you do not trust your player. I mean, when they have made you a captain, whether you perform or whether you do not perform, I think it is very important for the management to back you. The same thing they did with Riyan Parag in the previous season, and now I think Riyan Parag is doing a good job. But again, having said that, Riyan Parag is an upcoming talent. He has played a lot of matches, we know, but when it comes to the captaincy role, he's still very new at it. But we expect more from Ajinkya Rahane, given the fact that he has so much of experience, and he has played domestic. He has captained the Indian Test side as well. So there is a lot of hopes on Ajinkya Rahane, and he's definitely not living up to that. And that is why there's this common, this rage towards him, and that is very understandable. As a KKR fan, even I am very disappointed with the way the things are turning out. But again, dropping your captain and your vice captain is not enough. I mean, it is not a brave. I don't think I'm not in favor of the decision. But having said that, Rinku Singh, it is high time he has to step up as a batter for the team because Ajinkya Rahane still is contributing. But I think Rinku Singh's contribution has not been much in this tournament so far.
Okay, so let's go for our last question, Bharat. What I want to ask you is the same question that I asked Shorjani. What does KKR do sitting at the bottom of the table now? Not a single win. We saw the other day Daniel Vettori taking a bold call and getting those two debutants, and what a dream debut they had for SRH. There is an Umran Malik sitting on the bench as well. So does KKR kind of need to think laterally and do something like what SRH template was demonstrating?
But does Umran Malik, does he have the confidence to come in and do well? That's the other question. Recently, in a local league, he went for something like 57 runs in 2 overs or whatever it was, 50 odd runs in 2 overs. Jammu and Kashmir have dropped him long ago, about 6-8 months ago. They dropped him. After that, I don't think he's played a single, especially Ranji Trophy game. So I think he's low on confidence. Praful Hinja, I noted in one of your live shows that he has that kind of waspish pace, and that is what he showed yesterday. And in the Ranji Trophy, he has 27 wickets in 10 games. So he was actually doing reasonably well for Vidarbha with the ball in hand, especially with a new ball. And someone like Saqib Hussain, I think he's one of those bowlers who has that kind of hyperextension. I'm not saying he's the next Jasprit Umrah, but definitely has that hyperextension which can cause the batter some kind of problems. I think KKR made a mistake by not retaining him because he's definitely, I think, a genuine wicket taker. So I think with Malik, it comes down to confidence. I don't think he has had many matches. He has not played enough matches in the last 2 years. He struggled with injuries and he's gone for a lot of runs whenever he's played for Jammu and Kashmir. So if he is confident enough in the net sessions, and if he's bowling reasonably well, yes, so why not pick him, or even if someone like Muzarbani, because anyway, a couple of others are not succeeding. So why not try someone like Umran Malik as well to see whether his raw pace can actually help KKR. Though I just have to add one point: Umran Malik still doesn't move the ball, despite having that drop pace. He doesn't move the ball. I've not seen him move the ball even once in 4 years. And the other thing is he doesn't have any gears. He only tries to bowl 150 kilometers per hour. The best of bowlers go up and down with their pace, depending on the batsman, depending on the conditions. But Umran Malik still doesn't do it. So I think he still has a lot to learn as a bowler.
Perfect. On
So
that
I would
note,
just like to add a small
yes,
point.
sure.
Even during the practice matches and the practice sessions, Umran Malik was not in good form. I mean, he went for a lot of runs. He was not consistent. He was bowling wides. His line and lengths were not at all proper. So I think Umran Malik is still not an option for the team. On the other hand, you have someone like a Saurav Dubey also, but it's too late for the tactical changes, because at this point, they have to do something extraordinary to make a comeback, because qualifying for the playoffs also right now looks like a dream.
Just two lines on it. Just two lines on it. See, Umran Malik is a very skiddy fast bowler, and as a skiddy fast bowler, your best bet is to move the ball. For some reason, though Krishna Kumar, his coach at Jammu and Kashmir, once told me that he's tried to make him swing the ball, but he doesn't really have those gears. For example, when it comes to conventional swing, you have to reduce your pace a bit, because scientifically the ball won't swing conventionally of over 145 kilometers per hour. I'm not thinking about reverse swing, but conventional swing. But I have not seen him having those gears or move the ball, new ball till now over 4 years. So I think that is one of his biggest problems.
Fair enough. It's been a long day. Shorjani's covered cricket, chess, and golf in the matter of one day. And Bharat has been at the practice in Bangalore and will have all the updates when the IPL moves to Bengaluru tomorrow. RCB take on Lucknow Super Giants. We will bring you all the updates. Thank you, Shorjani. Thank you, Bharat, for joining the show. Good night.